Hey, welcome back. Let's do a little bit of, I guess, left side seal replacement on the Honda Express NC50. First, you get to drain the oil, and don't make the mistake I made. You should probably let it start draining and then leave for a half hour or so and come back later. Um, I'm showing you the impact driver. And I'm showing you the right side seal that I had already replaced. But the reason I'm showing you the impact driver is that I had previously taken out all the old cover screws and had to use that impact driver to get almost all of them out. And I have replaced them with Allen head bolts, which are much easier to work with. And so what I was trying to say was all the hard work has been done. Because I've been in here before, I got this engine that was missing some internal components and I replaced those, but I neglected to change the left crankshaft bearing seal when I did that, and I should have done it. But so now I'm doing it again. So I'm getting, I guess, double the practice dealing with this stuff here. And I didn't get the right side seal replacement on video, but I've got another engine that I've got to replace that seal on. And so when I do that, I'll get that on video. But the left side is much more involved than the right side. So we're getting the left side on video first. And I've sped things up so you wouldn't have to sit and watch me take off 17 or so of these bolts, or however many there are. There's quite a few. And we're still draining oil. And you can leave the kick lever on when you do this. You don't have to take it off. And I've already replaced that cover gasket, so it comes off all in one piece. Now, usually I don't lay it down on its side, but the manual said to do this, so I said, well, let's just give this a try. And I kind of regret doing it. I think I should have just left it in the upright position, but anyhow, you might have to tap on the cover with a rubber mallet to loosen it up and gradually work it off. If it's never been removed or hasn't been removed in ages, then it'll be a little bit more of a challenge. And I finally realized, oops, the final gear popped up and oil was leaking out underneath it there. So there's the starter arm, and I kind of had forgotten exactly how that goes on. I'll link a thread on Moped Army where there are pictures showing the correct placement of all this. I was also surprised, since I was just in here a couple months ago and hadn't ridden this engine much, how much dirt and stuff was in the oil. There was some metal shavings in the oil as well. I guess really you have to just take out all the components and clean it out thoroughly. I just took out the spark plug and put in a piston stop, and now I'm taking off that nut and washer that go over the clutch, and then I'm pulling out my handy dandy clutch puller, which I found on eBay. I bought eBay Australia, as a matter of fact, and they're still out there. They're about $35, $40, but it is well worth it. And what's nice about this clutch pillar is it doesn't really do any damage to the crankshaft there, the threads on the end of the crankshaft. So you just get it lined up and you bolt it down. There's some 2 threaded holes in the clutch, M6 I think, and then once you get it there, then it'll snap off. Usually it's fairly easy. Getting the I forget what it's called exactly, but there's a collar on the flywheel on the other side. That thing can be on there and will not budge to save your life. And you got to be careful about screwing up the threads on the other side when you remove that with a 2-jaw puller. But we'll show that in the future. I had to take a die and cut the threads again because I kind of messed them up. So yeah, we got more oil. I put it back upright, and see that washer I laid on that toolbox? I'm not sure where that came from. I think that was an extra washer. Usually that goes behind, I guess it would be the secondary gear, which is behind that main gear. There's a wave washer and then a flat washer. And maybe I messed up and thought I'd lost it, and it was in the case the whole time. That's what I'm thinking. So, oh well, that wasn't the best move. Who knows? I'm just speculating now. So I'll get this gasket off once I clean up this oily mess. This is why you probably let it drain overnight if you want, and then tackle this the next day. So this gasket comes off fairly readily. And then yeah, you've got to pull the clutch, bell, and that sprocket out together to get that clutch bell off. And then there's a sprocket on the other side of the clutch bell where the chain goes, the drive chain. And then now we finally have access to the seal. And I've got my paint can opener, which works great for pulling these out. See if we can see where this seal pops off to. That happened too quick. It actually went into the plastic container of oil. I'm like, where did that thing go? I'm looking all over for it, and I find it in the oil thing. And not only that, but there's a spring that fell in the oil as well. So then you want to clean out where that seal goes. It's like so. And since this side is soaked in an oil bath, I don't use any Yama Bond or anything like that. And actually, this engine might be a candidate for replacing the bearings. But we'll get to that later, I guess. So I get my handy big boy washer and PVC pipe and a rubber mallet and tap this turkey on. And you just want to get it flush. Same with the other side. And of course, if you're a real go-getter like me, you'll keep picking at it. The temptation is to keep picking at it. That's not exactly right. You know, I've got to get this thing flush. And if you're going to do that, just make sure you don't go too gung-ho, because you'll push it in too far and then you've got to pull it out and you've ruined the seal and you got to get a new seal. How do I know? Just ask me. So, and we get this back together, and there's, I'm showing you, if you pause it, I'm showing you the wave washer that's on the other side of that small sprocket. And there's a plastic chain guide that I didn't get the chain under, the top of the chain under and the bottom of the chain over. And then there's a spring that holds tension on that chain guide that I'm trying to get back on. And if you look at it, you'll see there's a catch that the spring catches, and then you just put it over the top. There we go. And there's two washers and a bearing type washer, so three washers. The thick washer goes on first, and then the bearing washer, and then the thin washer. And then I'm putting the clutch on, and part two will be the rest of it. So stay tuned.